Good morning, beloved child of God. As the light of a new day touches your window, I invite you to pause and let your heart breathe in His presence. This quiet moment before the rush, before the noise, is sacred. It is in these first few breaths of morning that your spirit can align with heaven. You were not created to carry the weight of your day alone. The one who knit you together in your mother's womb desires to walk with you in every moment. But He waits to be invited, not forced into your schedule. He moves most powerfully when you begin your day by bowing your heart in reverence. It is written in Psalm 5:3, "In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning, I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly." There is something divine about first light prayers. When you choose to pray first, you are placing the foundation of your day in the hands of the Eternal. You are not just starting your day, you are sanctifying it. The enemy wants you to be distracted first thing. He wants your eyes fixed on your notifications and your ears filled with noise. But heaven calls you to something deeper, something eternal. Prayer is not a ritual, it's a lifeline. Maybe your heart feels clouded today. Maybe yesterday left you with worry, or your sleep was filled with restlessness. Maybe you woke up already tired. But God's mercies are new every morning, and this moment right now is your chance to step into His peace. Right here, before anything else, say this: Lord, I invite you into my day. Say it aloud if you can. Let your soul hear it. Let the heavens hear it. You are not alone, and you do not have to navigate this day without divine help. You may feel like the world is already pulling at you, but God is asking for just one thing: your first thought, your first breath, your first whisper of trust. If this message speaks to your spirit, write in the comments, "Lord, you are first in my day." Then tell us, what are you praying for today? What do you need heaven to move in? Let us lift you up in prayer. This space is holy, and we believe in the power of community. Keep coming back. Build your sacred rhythm. Let your mornings be transformed by worship. The enemy knows he can't destroy you, so he tries to distract you. If he can steal your first moments, he can shift your atmosphere. But not today. Today, you are reclaiming your focus and returning your gaze to the one who holds the sunrise in His hands. God doesn't need elaborate words. He needs your heart. He longs for the sound of your voice, not perfection in your speech. When you pray first, you are telling every fear, every plan, and every problem who truly reigns. You are inviting divine order into natural chaos. Begin again now, right here, right where you are. Whisper His name and let heaven fill the room. He's already closer than your next breath. Heaven sees you in this very moment, not as someone rushed or behind, but as a beloved soul rising into alignment with your purpose. Your decision to pray first is not small in the eyes of God. It is a declaration of surrender and faith. When you choose Him before anything else, heaven draws near. There's a quiet strength being built in you every time you whisper His name before the day begins. You're not just speaking into the air, you're stirring up spiritual fire. The angels lean in when you kneel, even if it's only in your heart. God responds to availability, not performance. In the stillness, He begins to shape your thinking. In your surrender, He provides divine clarity. In your praise, He disarms every anxious thought before it takes root. Your morning prayer is your shield, your anchor, and your preparation. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to wake up strong. Just wake up surrendered. That's enough for the Lord to step in and make the impossible possible. Look at Jesus. He often withdrew to pray in the early hours, before the crowds, before the miracles, before the challenges. The Son of God, in full authority, still chose to talk to the Father first. What does that tell us? It tells us that first things matter in the kingdom of heaven. Your first few minutes with God have the power to shift your emotional atmosphere. They calm your nervous system, realign your priorities, and crown your thoughts with peace. Prayer first doesn't just protect you, it transforms you. It silences lies before they become loud. Sometimes life will tempt you to skip this step. But skipping prayer is like stepping into a storm with no shelter. It's like fighting a battle without a sword. You might survive, but you won't walk in the victory that was prepared for you. Let this be the year you build your mornings on solid rock. Let this be the season you stop depending on your own strength. Let your first move be down on your knees or simply a whispered, "God, help me." It's not the posture of your body. It's the posture of your heart. When you pray first, you step into alignment with your calling. When you pause to invite God, your day becomes holy. No matter what awaits you, you're not walking into it alone. His hand goes before you, His angels walk beside you, and His Spirit strengthens you. If today begins with tears, He collects everyone. If today begins with fear, He offers His peace. If today begins with nothing but silence, He fills it with whispers of love. God is near to the humble, and He draws close to the early seeking soul. This is your spiritual secret. A morning built on prayer is a life built on power. Let nothing, no task, no schedule, no phone, come before the King of Glory. He's already waiting for you. Begin again, child of God. Begin again with Him. There is a sacred rhythm waiting for you each morning. It's not hidden in the noise of your alarms or buried beneath your endless to-do list. It begins in the stillness, where your heart leans in and heaven leans closer. That is where clarity is born, where the noise fades and the truth rises. When you make prayer your beginning, you unlock peace that the world can't give and can't take away. It's not just that God answers prayer, it's that prayer positions you to hear Him. Every time you pause to pray, you tune your spirit to the frequency of heaven. You're not behind. You're early where it matters most. There's power in first fruit obedience. Giving God the first part of your day is a declaration that everything else belongs to Him too. It's not about time management. It's about trust. It says, "Lord, I believe you are my source before any resource appears." Maybe you've tried to do mornings your way. Maybe it worked for a while. But eventually, soul fatigue set in, the kind of tired that sleep doesn't fix. That's because your spirit was hungry, not just your body. Don't condemn yourself for being late to this revelation. Just start now. God doesn't shame latecomers. He runs toward them. Like the Father in Luke 15, He meets you on the road. All He needs is your return, your reaching, your yes at first light. This daily meeting with God is not just about requests. It's a reunion. It's the garden walk with the Father that was always meant to be. It's where your identity is reminded, your mind is reset, and your heart is renewed. He knows what today holds even before you do. He knows the challenges, the conversations, the decisions, the weights, and He has already gone before you. Why face it alone when the all-knowing, all-loving, ever-present God is waiting to walk with you? Prayer is not your backup plan. It's your battle plan. It's not what you do when everything falls apart. It's what keeps you from falling apart in the first place. This is where victories are born. In the quiet surrender of morning. He doesn't need eloquence. He doesn't ask for perfection. He just wants your honest heart. Even if all you can say is, "Lord, help," that is enough to invite His power into your day. And when you pray first, you stop being led by emotion and start being led by truth. The lies lose their grip. The panic loses its volume. The day no longer owns you, because you've already given it back to the one who does. This is more than a habit. It's holy. It's not routine. It's relationship. Heaven marks those who meet with God before the world gets a chance to speak. You are becoming one of those marked ones, set apart by your choice to begin with Him. So rise, dear one. Not in your strength, but in His. Let your prayer be the doorway to miracles, the key to clarity, the first breath of a powerful day. Always pray first. When you pray first, something begins to shift inside you. It's not always loud or sudden, it's subtle, sacred, and strong. Like roots growing deep beneath the surface, your faith starts anchoring itself in truth. And what is rooted in prayer cannot be easily shaken. You're no longer reacting to life. You're responding from a place of spiritual alignment. You're no longer spiraling through your schedule. You're stepping with intention. Prayer doesn't remove every battle, but it equips you with the armor to face it. And with God's presence going before you, you're never walking into the unknown alone. There's a reason Jesus said in Mark 1:35 that He rose early, while it was still dark, and went out to pray. The Messiah, the very Son of God, knew the necessity of prayer before purpose. If He needed it, how much more do we? We are strongest when we kneel first. You were not meant to carry everything. That's why God asks for your first thoughts, your first burdens, your first praises. He's not adding more to your list. He's offering to carry it. But He waits for the invitation that comes with first breath prayer. When you start your day with God, the rest of the day starts to follow Him too. Your words sound different. Your reactions are softer. Your peace is deeper. It's not because the world changed. It's because you did. Think of each morning prayer like building a spiritual altar. It's a place where your soul meets heaven, where your day is consecrated, and where the flame of faith is reignited. And even if no one else sees it, heaven does. The angels record your faithfulness. Some days your prayer may feel dry. Other days it may overflow. But keep showing up, because consistency in prayer doesn't just change outcomes. It changes you. You're becoming who you were meant to be by meeting with the One who created you. In these moments, you begin to hear His whisper again. The one that says, "You are mine." The one that reminds you of your calling. The one that speaks peace into your storm before the storm even begins. This is what you were created for. Communion, not chaos. When life gets loud, your stillness becomes your weapon. When fear rises, your prayers rise louder. When uncertainty tries to take control, your surrender reminds the enemy that your day belongs to God. You are not outnumbered. You are surrounded by grace. Even if the day turns difficult, you're not the same person who faced yesterday without prayer. You're wiser now, stronger, more sensitive to the Spirit. And that's what makes the difference. It's not the absence of hardship, but the presence of God within it. So as the sun rises again tomorrow, rise with it, not just in body, but in spirit. Meet God before the world meets you. Let your first breath be praise, your first thought be trust, and your first step be holy. This is how you build a prayer life that lasts. One quiet morning at a time. One surrendered heart at a time. One whispered, "God, I need you," at a time. And He hears every single one. There's a secret strength forming in your soul when you choose to pray before you plan. Worship before you worry. Surrender before you strive. These early moments of stillness are not wasted. They're holy. They prepare you for things you can't yet see and equip you for battles you don't yet know you'll fight. This is spiritual training at the break of day. Heaven honors those who seek God early. Not because of a time on the clock, but because of the posture of first devotion. When you give God your first, it's not just a portion of your day, it's the seed of your day. And seeds grow quietly, deeply, powerfully. Have you ever noticed that the days you pray first carry a different peace? It's not circumstantial, it's spiritual. That peace is fruit growing from the soil of early obedience. It's the proof that God's presence was welcomed, not sidelined. The enemy can't take what you surrender to God first. He can't manipulate what's already been laid at the altar. That's why your first moments matter so much. It's not legalism, it's wisdom. You're not earning anything. You're aligning yourself with the source of everything. Even your distractions begin to fade when your spirit starts learning the rhythm of intimacy. The more you meet with God early, the more your mind learns to quiet down, the less power the outside world has. The more you begin to hunger for the hush of holy presence. There is no perfect formula for how your morning should look. It doesn't have to be loud, long, or eloquent. God isn't impressed by performance. He's moved by proximity. He just wants you close. First, when you start your day in prayer, you're stepping into a covering. Angels are assigned. Peace is released. Strategy is whispered into your soul. Even if your day turns unpredictable, heaven already made arrangements for your protection. This is not a religious act. It's a relational embrace. It's not about duty. It's about desire. You're not performing. You're connecting. And in that connection, your soul begins to breathe again. Some mornings, you might come with joy. Other mornings with tears. But either way, he receives you the same. The king bends to listen to the voice of his child. Whether shouted in praise or whispered in pain, he hears it all. So don't let the lies convince you it's too late, too rushed, too messy. God isn't looking at your clock. He's looking at your heart, and your willingness to pause before anything else is an act of powerful surrender. In a world that constantly demands your attention, choosing to give it first to God is a quiet rebellion against chaos. It's the bold declaration that your soul refuses to be ruled by urgency. You live by grace, not pressure, by presence, not performance. Keep building this rhythm. Keep showing up first thing, not for answers, but for alignment, not for escape, but for endurance. You are being formed into someone who walks with God, not just when it's convenient, but when it's first. And that, beloved, is where transformation begins. This holy habit of praying first is slowly becoming your lifeline. What once felt unfamiliar is now your sanctuary. The moment your eyes open, your spirit reaches not for the world, but for the Word. That's the sign of a heart being reshaped by heaven. You are no longer led by pressure. You are led by peace. You're no longer reacting to circumstances. You're responding from a place of quiet trust. And this shift, though unseen by others, is transforming your walk with God. It's building spiritual muscle in the stillness. There is a calm authority that rises in those who meet with God before they meet the world. They carry wisdom that doesn't come from news headlines or social media. They carry whispers from the throne room. They may not speak loudly, but their lives echo with divine presence. And that presence shifts every room they walk into. You are becoming one of those people. Not because of how much you know, but because of how deeply you've learned to kneel. Not because of what you do, but because of who you've chosen to seek. And seeking God first is one of the most powerful decisions any human soul can make. There is safety in early surrender. There is favor that follows the footsteps of the one who prays first. Doors open, not because you pushed them, but because heaven honored your posture. You stopped rushing. You began resting. You waited, and in the waiting, you were strengthened. You're not just preparing for your day, you're preparing to carry glory. You're not just managing time, you're making room for miracles. What happens in these quiet moments sets the tone for everything that follows, and heaven never lets that go unnoticed. There will be days when prayer feels effortless, and days when it feels like a struggle. Both are holy, both are heard, both are covered in grace. God does not measure your morning by how much you feel. He looks at how much you show up. When you give Him your first thoughts, He transforms your thoughts. When you give Him your first emotions, He purifies your emotions. When you give Him your first silence, He fills it with wisdom. God will always multiply what you give him first. And so, even now, as you continue this journey of putting God first, know this: heaven sees you. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are exactly where grace wants you to be, at the feet of the one who holds your entire day in his hands. This morning meeting is not small. It's not background. It is battle preparation. It is soul preservation. It is a divine appointment with the only one who never cancels, never delays, and never disappoints. Keep coming. Keep seeking. Keep praying first. You are building something eternal, one whispered prayer at a time. There's something eternal about what you're doing when you wake up and pray first. Even though no one sees it, heaven records it. The quiet decision to seek God's face before seeking anything else is shaping your soul in ways you cannot yet measure. Each prayer is planting roots that will hold you steady when the winds rise. The enemy fears the believer who begins their day in surrender, not because of volume, but because of alignment. A heart aligned with God at dawn is a heart that cannot be easily shaken by midday trials. You're not just building a routine, you're building a refuge. This kind of faith doesn't form overnight. It forms in layers, in mornings, in whispers. It forms in those moments when you don't feel like praying, but you pray anyway. It forms when you offer God your first words instead of your leftover energy. The first step in winning the day is not conquering your schedule. It's giving the day back to its maker. You're not in control, but you are connected. You may not know what's coming, but you know who goes before you. That is the power of praying first. Think of how Jesus lived. He did not just pray before his miracles. He prayed to remain in communion. He didn't need the Father's power. He longed for the Father's presence. This is the model he gives you. Intimacy before influence, stillness before movement. When you rise to pray before the world wakes, you are choosing to breathe in peace before pressure has a chance to speak. You are standing between what happened yesterday and what's ahead today, and in that sacred space, you are choosing God. That choice shapes everything. Some mornings will feel quiet. Others will overflow with tears or praise. But the beauty is that God meets you in all of it. He doesn't need a performance. He wants presence. He wants your first breath, your first thought, your first surrender. You are training your spirit to remember what matters most. You are pushing back the lies that say you have to earn peace or control outcomes. Peace is a person. Power is a promise. And both meet you when you pray first. You are not weak for needing God. You are wise. You are not strange for pausing to pray. You are being set apart. This is how warriors are made. In silence. In surrender. In mornings like these. So, let your soul rise before your tasks do. Let your spirit be filled before your hands start moving. Let God be your source. Not your backup, not your last resort, but your first love and your first move. Every time you choose to begin with Him, you're strengthening your roots. You're shaping the direction of your day. You're stepping into divine alignment. And heaven rejoices at your devotion. Keep building the altar, morning by morning. He is meeting you there. Your mornings are becoming holy ground, not because of the room you're in, but because of the presence you're learning to invite. When you start with God, you are sanctifying your entire day. You are making a declaration to the world and to your own soul. God is first here, always. It's easy to forget in the rush of life that the battle is not against schedules or stress, it's spiritual. And spiritual battles are won with spiritual weapons. Your prayer is a sword. Your surrender is a shield. Your stillness is strength wrapped in silence. When you choose to seek Him first, you are no longer just surviving your days. You are stewarding them. You are not letting time slip through your fingers. You are pouring it like oil at His feet. That's what makes it worship. You're not weak because you need guidance. You're wise because you asked for it early. God loves a heart that comes before the storm, before the decision, before the burden gets too heavy. He's not annoyed by your need. He's drawn to it. And the more you meet with him early, the more you begin to recognize his voice in the middle of your day. You hear him when others don't. You feel peace when others panic. You make decisions from rest instead of reactivity. That's the fruit of praying first. It's in these moments that clarity comes. You might not get every answer you're looking for, but you will receive direction. You will feel his peace settle over your shoulders like a covering, and that covering will carry you farther than any plan you could make on your own. Don't underestimate the power of these minutes. Don't measure them by emotion or by the ticking of the clock. Heaven is not on your schedule, but heaven responds to your surrender. And God always honors the heart that honors him first. You may not feel it yet, but something sacred is happening within you. Your spirit is getting stronger. Your hearing is becoming clearer. Your roots are going deeper. The first fruits of your time are watering something eternal. These are the kinds of habits that shift legacy. One day, you'll look back and realize that your greatest victories started in the quietest prayers. That peace didn't arrive by accident. It was built in the early hours, one whisper at a time. The world may never understand it. They'll say, "You're too intense, too spiritual, too focused." Let them say it, because you know the truth. This isn't about being better. This is about being filled. This is about being led, not lost. So let this be your rhythm. Let it be your resistance to the chaos. Let it be your sanctuary before the sun is fully up. The Lord is near, and your day is blessed because you chose him first. Always pray first, and the rest will follow. The moment you choose to pray before anything else, you're taking your rightful place as a child of the King. You are not waking up to chaos. You are waking up to covenant. Every whisper of prayer is a reminder that you are not doing life alone. God is not distant. He is right here, waiting for your first breath to reach him. This is where real strength is built. Not in the gym, not in hustle, but in the hush. When the house is quiet and your heart is open, heaven begins to work. Angels take position. Assignments are released. Protection is placed over your path, simply because you bowed first. The world teaches us to grind. God teaches us to gather strength from stillness, to gather wisdom from worship, to gather direction from the divine. And all of that begins when you place prayer before performance. You may not see the fruit right away, but that doesn't mean roots aren't growing. God is doing something below the surface in every prayer-soaked morning. Every seed of surrender is being watered, and in time, it will bloom in ways you never imagined. This isn't about religion. This is about relationship. A relationship where your first instinct becomes to seek him, not scroll. To listen, not react. To praise, not panic. That's the heart transformation God is bringing about in you. There is no wasted prayer, even your sleepy, whispered ones. Even the ones you say with tears in your eyes and no words on your tongue. God hears the breath between your thoughts. He's not moved by perfection, he's moved by presence. You are not late to intimacy with God. You are right on time. Every time you begin your day with him, it's a step closer, a brick laid in the foundation of trust. You are building your house upon the rock, one morning prayer at a time. And that house will stand. Storms will come, yes. Winds will rise, certainly. But what is built on first love devotion cannot be shaken. That's what this is. Not a habit, not a schedule, but first love devotion. The more you pray first, the more you realize you don't want to live without it. You feel it when you skip it. Not because of guilt, but because your spirit misses its anchor. You crave that sacred rhythm, and God delights in meeting you there. You were designed for this. Designed to walk with God before walking into the world. Designed to pause before proceeding. designed to seek before speaking. That design is being reawakened in you through prayer. So rise each day, not with fear, but with faith, not with worry, but with worship. Begin with God, and everything else will begin to align. He's not just your rescuer, He's your rhythm. Pray first, beloved, and let that be the melody of your life. Every time you whisper His name before the world speaks to you, heaven responds. Angels are not moved by noise. They are moved by faith. And when your faith chooses to rise before the sun, to kneel before the day demands anything of you, the heavens take notice. These early morning prayers are your secret strength. There's something sacred about beginning your day with a whisper instead of a worry. You're not avoiding the challenges ahead. You're facing them with a filled heart. You are saying, God, I don't know what this day holds, but I know You. And that knowing changes everything. Your spirit is slowly being rewired to seek Him first, not last, not in desperation, not as a backup plan, but first. That's where transformation happens. Not in moments of crisis, but in moments of quiet consistency. Even when your body is tired, your spirit knows where to go. It reaches for the presence of God before it reaches for caffeine or control. That reaching is an act of faith. It's the movement of a soul, learning to rest before it runs. The enemy will always try to steal your first moments. He knows if he can distract your morning, he can distort your mind. But prayer reclaims the atmosphere. It clears the fog. It reminds you who you are and whose you are. You are not just praying. You are placing God in His rightful position over your day. You are giving Him lordship, not just lip service. And He responds to that. He steps into your schedule. He walks with you into the unknown. There will be mornings when your heart feels dry, when your prayers feel repetitive, when your thoughts wander. Keep praying. The power is not in the perfect words. It's in the presence of your surrendered heart. God knows what you meant, even when you don't say it perfectly. These moments are forming a history between you and heaven, a sacred memory of every sunrise you chose Him, a record of every tear you trusted Him with, a story of every morning you rose, not because you felt strong, but because you knew He was. Over time, you'll begin to notice it. A deeper calm, a quicker trust, a stronger discernment, a quieter confidence. It's the fruit of praying first, the result of choosing God before chaos. Peace will not be something you chase. It will be something you carry. You don't need a title to be a prayer warrior. You don't need a stage or a microphone. All you need is a willing heart and a few quiet minutes at the beginning of your day. That's where the greatest battles are won. So continue to make this choice, even on the days you oversleep, even when it feels like nothing is happening, because something always is. Your soul is growing, your path is being cleared, and your Father is drawing near. The morning is holy when you place it in God's hands. And because you have, so is your day. There's something unexplainable that begins to happen when you continually put God first in the morning. The atmosphere shifts. Your decisions start flowing from discernment instead of pressure. You don't just react, you respond. And you respond from a place of peace that only comes from early surrender. The world might call it routine, but heaven calls it relationship. God isn't watching your clock. He's listening for your heart. When you give Him your first thoughts, you're saying, before anything else defines me today, let it be You. And that declaration carries spiritual weight. This early time with Him isn't about checking off a task. It's a lifeline, a sacred rhythm that begins to anchor your emotions, steady your steps, and clear your vision. You're not just starting your day, you're setting the course for your entire walk. What begins in silence doesn't stay small. Morning prayer creates momentum. A quiet whisper with God can birth confidence you'll carry into every meeting, every challenge, every room You'll find yourself more stable, not because life is easy, but because your heart is anchored. Prayer first means truth before lies. It means light before shadow. It means choosing presence over panic. And every day you do it, you're building a deeper foundation that the enemy can't shake. You're not the same as you were before you started praying like this. Even if you can't see it, heaven sees the growth. The strength that formed in you during early stillness is now showing up in your endurance, your patience, your joy. That's not accidental, it's spiritual fruit. You were created to walk with God, not just visit Him. Morning prayer brings you back to that original design. It returns you to the garden, before shame, before striving, before noise. In prayer, you remember who you were always meant to be. Don't underestimate how much God treasures these moments. The very breath you give Him first is sacred. It's worship in its purest form. It's faith without demand. It's love without condition. And He draws near to that kind of offering. Some people look for power in platforms, but you found it in presence. You found it in whispered prayers at sunrise. That's where heaven moves. Not in applause, but in intimacy. Not in fame, but in faithfulness. This is how the fire stays lit. Not through emotional highs, but through daily devotion. Not through grand gestures, but through quiet, steady surrender. That fire in your spirit was built in the mornings the world never saw. So keep showing up. Keep making room. Keep choosing first things. Because the God who meets you in the morning walks with you all day long. He doesn't leave when the prayer ends. He lingers. He leads. And as you continue to pray first, you'll find yourself walking in more than peace. You'll walk in purpose. Each time you rise to meet God before the world meets you, you reclaim something sacred. You are telling your day who is in charge, not your emotions, not your schedule, but your Savior. And heaven responds. The heavens move for hearts that move toward God early. Morning prayer isn't just an act of faith. It's a weapon. It dismantles confusion before it forms. It shuts down fear before it speaks. It reminds darkness that it doesn't own your story, because you've already placed your story in God's hands at sunrise. You may not always feel the power in the moment, but that doesn't mean it's not working. The Spirit moves beyond what the eyes can see. Strength is forming in hidden places. Grace is being poured over your path, like oil before your feet even touch the floor. You are becoming a carrier of peace, because you begin your days in His presence. The more you pray first, the more your spiritual reflex becomes stillness. Instead of stress, praise instead of panic. You are being trained by the Spirit to live from the inside out. It's not about how loud your prayers are. It's about how surrendered they are. It's not about getting every word right. It's about giving God every corner of your heart. And you've been doing that. Day by day, whisper by whisper, you've been building something unshakable. Heaven knows your name, not just because you're saved, but because you keep showing up. There's a fragrance to your worship that rises like incense in the early hours. It fills the throne room. It marks you as one who walks closely with the Father. Others may not understand why you pause first, why you whisper before you speak, why you listen before you leap. But you know, you've tasted the peace that can't be explained. You've felt the safety of His arms before the world tried to pull you apart. Some days, prayer will feel like a flood. Others, like a whisper. But both are worship. Both are received. Both move the heart of God. It's not the strength of your voice. It's the consistency of your presence. You're not just developing a morning routine. You're becoming a dwelling place for the Holy Spirit. A soul He visits daily. A vessel ready to be filled and poured out again. That's what this is all about. Morning by morning, being shaped into His image. The day ahead may be long, but your heart is prepared. The hours may be full, but your spirit is aligned. Because you didn't start in panic, you started in presence. You prayed first, and that changes everything. This is how you live above the noise. This is how you walk in step with heaven, not by rushing, not by striving, but by sitting, by seeking, by surrendering first. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Until prayer is no longer what you do. It's who you are. You may not realize it now, but these morning moments are making you spiritually unshakable. With each sunrise surrendered, you're choosing intimacy over impulse. You're stepping into the day led by the Spirit, not by stress. And that choice is protecting your mind, guarding your heart, and guiding your steps. The world may still spin with its noise and pressure, but because you prayed first, it doesn't have authority over you. You've already aligned yourself with heaven's rhythm. You've already declared who reigns over your time. And that declaration isn't just a prayer, it's a spiritual boundary. Think of how many times God met his people in the morning. Manna fell before the sun rose. His mercies are new every dawn. The stone rolled away while it was still dark. Morning is when resurrection begins. Morning is where heaven whispers, "I'm still here." Your early surrender opens the gates of clarity. Things that once confused you begin to fall into place. Patterns that once led you into distraction now lose their grip, because when your first voice is prayer, your second voice is purpose. This practice is reordering your soul. It's turning chaos into calm. It's removing the fog from your vision. You're learning not just how to talk to God, but how to walk with Him. And that walk starts the moment your eyes open. When you choose to seek God first, you're not just building a better day, you're building a new legacy. The way you start your morning impacts the way you live, the way you love, the way you lead. And others around you will begin to feel it, even if they can't name it. Peace follows you now. Not because of anything you did, but because of who you started with. And when peace walks before you, fear has no seat at your table. When grace rises with you, shame can't hold your thoughts hostage. The more you make space for God in the morning, the more He takes space in your decisions. You start recognizing His whispers before the world starts shouting. You stop reacting and start responding. You begin to live from stillness, not from survival. There is power in this simplicity. Not every morning needs fireworks. Some mornings just need you. Showing up, surrendered, willing. God doesn't ask you to be impressive. He asks you to be present. Let that sink in. You are showing up. That alone is an act of worship. That alone is a declaration of love. And God, in all His glory, meets you there with fresh mercy and unshakable joy. So tomorrow, when the alarm goes off and the world starts moving, remember this. The most important thing you can do is pray first. Even if it's a whisper, even if it's a breath, that whisper echoes through eternity. Because when you put God first in your day, you're putting peace first, truth first, purpose first. By choosing to pray first, you are becoming a person of deep spiritual authority. Not the kind that demands attention, but the kind that carries heaven in silence. People may not know why they feel calm around you, but you'll know. It's the fruit of mornings given to God. Each new day becomes a new altar. Your bed becomes a holy place of surrender. Your first thoughts become offerings, and in return, the presence of God floods in, subtle but sure, shaping the rest of your hours with divine gentleness. You no longer walk into your day guessing what might happen. You walk in knowing who goes before you. That assurance changes your posture. You're less reactive, more reflective. You're not chasing peace. You're carrying it like a banner. Sometimes the greatest miracles aren't loud. They come in the form of clarity, of strength to say no, of courage to try again. And those miracles begin in morning prayer. They are born in the unseen devotion of those who choose to seek God before seeking the world. The discipline of praying first is not about being spiritual. It's about being surrendered. It's about admitting you don't want to face the day alone. It's about remembering who holds the timeline, who wrote the script, who commands the storm. There will always be things demanding your attention: notifications, obligations, fears. But when you wake up and give God the first breath, you tell all those things, wait, the throne comes first. That's spiritual order, and that order brings peace. Some mornings you'll feel on fire. Other mornings you'll feel quiet, even numb. Pray anyway. Pray through the silence. Pray through the fog. Because faith isn't about emotion. It's about trust. And trust grows deepest in the mornings you pray without feeling. Don't discount how far you've come. The person you were before you began this rhythm would be amazed at your consistency. You've begun to build a house of worship with your mornings, brick by brick, choice by choice, prayer by prayer. And every time you choose God first, you are teaching your heart who is in charge. Not fear, not lack, not insecurity. But the God who was with you yesterday is with you today and will be with you forever. You are aligning your spirit with heaven. That's why you feel lighter, stronger, clearer. It's not by accident. It's not coincidence. It's the anointing that comes when you give your first to the one who gave you everything. The day may not be perfect, but your peace can be. Not because you control everything, but because you're walking with the one who does. That kind of peace isn't earned. It's received, and you receive it best when you pray first. Let others run. Let others rise into chaos. You rise into stillness. You begin in the arms of the Father. And that choice makes every difference in who you become. So keep coming, keep seeking, keep surrendering. There's a stillness that only comes when you begin your day with God. Not the stillness of empty silence, but the stillness of divine presence. The kind that wraps around your heart and whispers, "You're safe here." That is what you wake up into when you pray first. In those early moments when the world hasn't yet rushed in, heaven draws near. Your words don't have to be eloquent, they just have to be honest. Even a sigh counts in the kingdom. Even the tears you hold back carry meaning in His presence. When you choose to pray first, you are putting your soul in alignment with eternity. You are placing God in the driver's seat before fear, before pressure, before expectation. And when He leads, your path begins to clear, even if it's one step at a time. That's the beauty of beginning with Him. You don't need a full plan. You just need full trust. Trust that He sees farther than you do. Trust that He knows what today will hold. Trust that He's already gone ahead and made a way. You may not notice it immediately, but something shifts each time you give your first moments to God. The burdens feel lighter. The voices of comparison grow quieter. The inner critic loses its volume. Why? Because you've entered the day anchored in truth. The enemy wants you distracted first thing. That's why the noise starts early. The emails, the worries, the scrolling. But prayer interrupts that spiral. It places a hand on your chest and says, wait, remember who you are. Remember whose you are. This rhythm you've started is changing your spiritual posture. You're no longer living by reaction. You are living by revelation. And revelation always begins in prayer. It always begins in stillness before strategy, presence before performance. You don't have to have it all figured out today. You just have to begin with the one who does. That's the freedom prayer brings. It shifts your focus from control to trust, from outcome to obedience, from fear to faith. Think of every person in Scripture who met God in the early moments. Abraham at dawn, David with the harp, Jesus withdrawing before sunrise. They knew something holy happens when the soul seeks God first. And now, so do you. There is strength in this secret place. The kind of strength that doesn't show up in muscles or titles, but in mercy. The kind that enables you to forgive, to endure, to speak life, to be gentle when the world wants war. It begins here, in the quiet with Him. You're not just starting your day. You're sowing into your future. These prayers will echo for years. They will shape your thoughts, your relationships, your legacy. And one day, someone will ask why your life is so peaceful, and you'll smile and say, "Because I pray first." So take this next breath slowly. Feel the weight of God's love pressing gently on your shoulders. You are seen, you are held, you are guided, and it all started because you paused and prayed. Each time you pray first, you are declaring to heaven and to your own heart that God comes before everything else. You are not just waking up, you are awakening your spirit. You are stepping into your divine identity before the world tries to define you, and that choice gives you a supernatural advantage the rest of the day. It is not by chance that peace lingers when prayer leads. When you set your feet on the floor, after bowing your heart to God, you carry something invisible but undeniable. The world may try to rush you, but you've already been filled with stillness. That stillness becomes your strength. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do in the morning is simply sit with God in silence. No rush, no pressure, just presence. Because in the quiet, God speaks the loudest. He whispers reminders you didn't know you needed. I've gone before you. I am with you. I will uphold you. Those truths aren't just scriptures, they are spiritual armor. They become the lens through which you see everything else. You are no longer walking blindly through your day. You are walking with spiritual awareness, tuned into His voice, ready to respond with wisdom. That's what prayer does. It tunes your frequency to the sound of heaven. You hear what others may. You may still face challenges, but now you face them equipped. Fear may knock, but faith will answer. Doubt may whisper, but truth will shout louder. And when you feel overwhelmed, you'll know exactly where to return, to that quiet place where you began. Putting God first reshapes the entire structure of your day. Your priorities shift, your reactions soften, your choices become more aligned. The more you do it, the more your life takes on the shape of heaven's rhythm, and that rhythm carries grace. You're not just praying for answers, you're praying for alignment. Alignment with His will, His timing, His heart. And when your spirit is aligned, you begin to walk in divine momentum. Things begin to flow rather than fracture. Every time you open your eyes and invite God in first, you're tearing down strongholds of fear and building altars of trust. That altar doesn't need bricks, it just needs your surrender. And God meets you there every single time. You're becoming more aware of the sacredness of these mornings. They're no longer just time slots, they're holy appointments. And the more you show up, the more your heart begins to crave them, not out of obligation, but out of love. Heaven rejoices every time you choose devotion over distraction. And even when no one sees the prayers you whisper, God sees them like light rising from the earth. Those prayers are not small. They are eternal echoes. Let today be another offering. Let your first words be His name. Let your first thought be trust. Let your first posture be surrender. And let the rest of the day follow the peace that flows from that place. You are not falling behind. You are walking in divine pace. And it all begins here, with this breath, with this prayer, with this first moment given to God. There is a quiet authority that settles into your spirit when you start the day with prayer. It doesn't boast or demand attention, but it carries a weight that cannot be shaken. Because when you've already bowed before the throne of grace, nothing else can rule your heart. The loudest voice no longer wins, only the voice of truth you heard first. The enemy wants your mornings distracted, because he knows that a focused heart is a dangerous one. But you've chosen something better. You've chosen to seek the kingdom before you seek anything else. And that decision brings order to the chaos and clarity to the confusion. Your morning prayers are seeds. seeds of peace, strength, joy, and wisdom. They don't always bloom in the moment, but trust this, they always bloom in time. Nothing planted in God's presence is ever wasted. There's a different kind of confidence that flows from this rhythm. Not arrogance, but assurance. Not control, but surrender. Because your trust isn't in your own preparation. It's in God's perfect presence. The more you begin your days with Him, the more your spirit begins to listen throughout the day. You'll hear Him in quiet nudges. You'll feel Him in moments of stillness. You'll recognize His fingerprints on ordinary things. You no longer have to search for peace. It finds you because you've made space for it. That's the reward of prioritizing prayer. The supernatural begins to weave into the natural, and even the mundane begins to feel divine. There is a grace on you now that wasn't there before. A gentleness in your speech, a patience in your decisions, a discernment in your steps. These are not personality traits, they are spiritual fruits, grown in the soil of early communion with God. Let this become more than a habit. Let it become your home. Let your mornings with God be the place you return to. Not because you have to, but because that's where you belong. In the stillness, in the light, in the love of your Creator. You don't need the perfect words. You don't need a long list. Sometimes, "God, I need you," is enough. And heaven will answer. Because God responds not to the complexity of your prayers, but to the honesty of your heart. Even now, as you continue this journey, heaven is leaning close. Angels are drawn to the sound of a soul that seeks first the kingdom. These prayers are not just words. They are movements in the Spirit. You are stirring the atmosphere with your devotion. Let this morning be a reminder. Your strength does not come from productivity. It comes from proximity. The closer you stay to the heart of God, the more clearly you'll see your path. And that clarity is priceless. The day may still bring noise, but it won't control you. The storm may still come, but it won't drown you, because the one who calms storms met you this morning, and He walks with you still. So rise with purpose, walk with peace, speak with grace, respond with patience. And remember, this all began because you chose to pray first. Every time you wake up and begin with God, you are unlocking spiritual clarity that human wisdom cannot provide. You're not just setting a tone for the day. You're declaring the lordship of Jesus over your time, your heart, and your mind. This is how battles are won before they even begin. This is how chains are broken silently, in secret devotion. The world may see you as quiet, but in the Spirit, you are fierce. Because the one who kneels before God can stand before anything. And when you speak, your words carry the weight of someone who has already been with the King. You're not reacting to life, you're responding from the throne room. There is power in repetition when it comes from the heart. Every morning, you say, "Lord, I'm here." Heaven answers with, "I'm with you." That consistency builds a foundation that no storm can shake. And even when doubt whispers, your faith rises louder. God honors the ones who put Him first when no one is watching. He blesses the hands that reach for His word before reaching for a phone. He strengthens the weary soul that chooses stillness over striving. And He walks closely with those who give Him their first breath. You may think some mornings are too rushed, too tired, too empty to offer anything meaningful. But those are often the mornings where the deepest surrender happens. When you come anyway, when you pray anyway, that's when grace rushes in like a river. Don't underestimate the power of your consistency. Heaven doesn't. Angels have marked your name because you've become one who shows up. You're building something eternal, stone by stone, morning by morning. This is the holy ground of your life. Some people chase motivation, but you've chosen devotion. That's the difference between a flash of fire and a steady flame. And steady flames are what light up the darkness. They don't burn out when the world grows cold. They shine with heaven's heat. When you pray first, you slow down the rush of the world and speed up the peace of God. You may still have deadlines, but now you face them with divine pace. You may still face conflict, but now you carry calm, because you're not alone. God is ahead, beside, and within you. Even in your weakest days, prayer becomes your strength, not because of how loud you pray, but because of who you're praying to. Your strength is not the absence of weakness, it's the presence of God. And you've made room for Him every morning. You're not praying to control your life, you're praying to trust the one who already holds it. That shift changes everything. You're no longer overwhelmed by uncertainty, because you've already handed today over to the one who knows the end from the beginning. There's no better way to prepare for your day than to start it on your knees. That's where your courage is found. That's where your answers begin. That's where you remember who you are and whose you are. Let the world move fast. You've learned the pace of heaven. Let the noise rise. You've chosen the frequency of faith. Let fear knock. You've been with the Father. This is your anchor. This is your source. And this is only the beginning of what God is building in you. Because you pray first. You are creating a rhythm in your soul that the world cannot interrupt. Because every time you choose prayer first, you quiet the chaos before it even has a chance to speak. This is how you move from anxiety to authority, from survival to surrender. And this is where heaven begins to build in you what cannot be shaken. Some people look for signs in the sky, but you've learned to find them in the stillness, in the whisper before dawn, in the gentle reminder that God is already near. That reminder becomes your compass when the day pulls in every direction. Your discipline is becoming delight. What once felt like routine now feels like refuge. Because the more you meet God in the morning, the more your heart begins to crave that place. That quiet place where your spirit exhales. Not every day will feel victorious. Some mornings your heart will be heavy. Some mornings your words will feel dry. But even in that, there is power. Because showing up when it's hard is when the roots grow deep, and deep roots withstand strong wind. You are not the same as you once were. You may still struggle. You may still wrestle, but you are grounded now. You are walking with wisdom, and wisdom begins in prayer. When others ask how you stay calm, how you endure, how you forgive, you will know the answer. It's not self-help. It's not strength. It's surrender. It's those first 10 minutes with God that shape the next 10 hours. You've discovered a treasure that the world overlooks, the quiet place. And it's in that place that burdens become blessings. Worry turns to worship. Confusion becomes clarity. All because you chose to begin in His presence. Let this be your new legacy. A life built not on hustle, but on holiness. A life that starts each day with an open heart. Because when you give God your morning, you're giving Him the blueprint of your entire life. He takes what you surrender and multiplies it. He breathes peace into what was once panic. He surrounds you with mercy before you even face the crowds. And every time you invite Him first, He honors it with protection and provision. There is no better preparation for life than time in prayer. Not just reading words, but letting them read you. Not just speaking needs, but listening for direction. And from that place, you begin to live differently, more intentionally, more peacefully, more purposefully. This is your strength. This is your shield. This is your secret place that becomes your public power. And it all begins the same way, by praying first. You're no longer walking into days with uncertainty alone. You're walking with the God who already knows every outcome. And because He walks with you, you don't need to fear what's ahead. You only need to stay close. So keep showing up. Keep praying first. Keep choosing the quiet over the chaos. This is how your life begins to reflect heaven, one morning at a time. Every time you rise and begin your day in prayer, you are opening a doorway between your heart and heaven. You are no longer reacting to life as it comes. You are responding as someone who has already heard from God. That kind of posture shifts everything around you. People may not understand your peace, but they will feel it. Your spirit is becoming trained in the art of stillness. You no longer need noise to feel full. You no longer crave distractions to feel alive, because the quiet with God satisfies deeper than anything else ever could. In this place of devotion, you begin to hear more than your own thoughts. You begin to sense God's direction, His correction, His comfort. These are the treasures that can't be bought or taught. They are only found in the presence of the one who made you. There is nothing weak about surrendering each morning. In fact, it is one of the boldest choices you can make. Because in surrender, you admit your need. And in that need, God pours out strength, real strength. Let the world rush into their days with cluttered hearts. You've chosen clarity. You've chosen to let the light of God hit your soul before the screens do. And in that light, you walk with wisdom that others only chase. Your morning prayer becomes a shield, not because it keeps trouble away, but because it keeps fear out. You might still walk through valleys, but you'll walk through them with songs of peace. That is the reward of meeting God before the storm comes. When you sit in His presence first, your spirit begins to see with eternal eyes. You're no longer led by impulses or fear. You are led by purpose, and purpose brings peace that even hardship cannot steal. You are not just surviving days, you are stewarding them. You are no longer praying to get by, but praying to live well. That shift in motive brings deep spiritual maturity, and heaven honors that kind of heart. There is a beauty in knowing you don't have to do life on your own. You don't have to hold it all together, because every morning when you choose God first, you are reminded. He holds you together, and He always will. The Word becomes alive in you when it becomes the first thing you touch. Scriptures begin to echo throughout your day, not just as memory, but as movement, carrying you, speaking through you, protecting your thoughts. This is what the early moments produce. You are rewriting your story. Every day you begin with prayer. You are shifting generational habits. You are sowing seeds for your children and your future. Don't underestimate the ripple effects of this holy rhythm. And even when it feels quiet, know this: God is doing more than you can see. Prayer is never wasted. Every word, every tear, every silence is held in heaven's hands. And in due time, it will return in peace, in power, in purpose. So, rise again tomorrow, and the next day, and the one after. Because this rhythm is building something eternal. And every time you pray first, you are coming home to your true self, the one anchored in Christ. The more you pray first, the more natural it becomes to listen before you speak, to pause before you react, to love before you judge. Prayer becomes the soil where the fruit of the Spirit begins to grow freely: patience, kindness, faithfulness, and self-control. These are not accidental changes. They are the outcome of sacred discipline, and they begin with your first surrendered moment each morning. You are training your spirit to reach upward before it reaches outward. This is how strength is built, not in grand displays, but in quiet repetition. Every time you begin your day in prayer, you are exercising spiritual muscles the world cannot see, and in time, they will carry you through what others cannot survive. You are becoming more sensitive to God's timing. You are learning that not every answer comes fast, but every prayer moves something. Some mornings you will feel the breakthrough instantly. Other mornings you are simply laying bricks in faith. But both are holy. There's a beauty in knowing that your quiet obedience is louder in heaven than any public display. God sees your 6 a.m. surrender. He sees you choose His word over the world. And He writes it down, not as obligation, but as love offered freely. Prayer first is more than a habit. It's a statement, a declaration that God is Lord not just over your eternity, but over your minutes and hours. It's a way of saying, you get the first word, Lord, and I will follow it above all others. That is spiritual maturity. That is trust. Even on the days you feel empty, showing up in prayer fills you in ways the world never could. God meets the honest heart, not the perfect one. He isn't moved by eloquence. He's moved by your willingness. And every whisper matters to him. Some days you'll bring him praise. Other days, tears. And sometimes, just your silence. But each is a form of worship. Each is a gift of intimacy. Because what matters most is that you bring him your heart. This is the foundation you're building. A place of daily encounter. Not just devotion, but friendship. Not just discipline, but delight. And the deeper you go, the more joy you find in returning each morning. You're no longer anxious about what the day might hold, because you've learned to release it before it begins. That kind of peace isn't explained. It's experienced. And it changes how you see everything else. Even your identity begins to shift in prayer. You remember who you are, not according to your performance, but according to his promise. And his promise never changes, even when your feelings do. The Lord doesn't need hours to move. He only needs your heart to be open. And when you give him your first breath, he gives you the strength to carry the rest. That is the divine exchange of morning prayer. That is where life truly begins. So step again into the quiet tomorrow. Before the world rushes in, let the Spirit settle you. Let his love wash over you. Let his truth lead you, and let your day rise from that sacred place. Because this is not just another morning. This is the altar you build daily. This is the beginning of heaven's movement in your life. And it starts, always, with prayer. This is where it all leads, to this sacred moment of surrender, when your heart fully bows before the one who holds everything together. All the mornings, all the whispered prayers, all the silent tears, they've brought you here, into a rhythm of divine dependence. You've learned to seek not the outcome, but the presence. And in seeking him first, you've found more than answers. You've found rest. You are no longer shaped by what the world throws at you, but by who you meet with each morning. He has become your shelter, your source, your stillness, and that stillness has become your secret strength. Even when the world demands more, you now know God is enough. You're not trying to fix everything anymore. You're learning to release it. That's what prayer first has taught you. To place it all in the hands of the one who never drops what you surrender. You don't carry the burden alone. You carry the peace that comes from knowing he's already ahead of you. This life you're living is becoming a quiet testimony, a witness that peace is possible, that joy is real, that strength is not found in striving, but in sitting with God. The world may not understand your calm, but heaven does, because you've chosen the better portion. You don't have to fear tomorrow. You've already entrusted it to the one who wrote it. And every morning you return, he reminds you, I am still here. I still love you. I still have you. That assurance is what makes your steps steady, even on uncertain ground. There will be days when everything feels loud again. When chaos knocks early and fear tries to take up space. But those are the days your habits become your rescue. You'll know exactly where to go, to the quiet place where God always meets you. This isn't just discipline, it's devotion. A heart tethered to heaven, a soul anchored in trust, and a life shaped by worship. This is who you're becoming, because you decided to begin with God. Let nothing steal that from you. Not distraction, not disappointment, not even delay, because even when you feel nothing, God is still doing something. And every single prayer is a seed of glory waiting to bloom. Look at how far you've come. This isn't just a routine anymore. It's a relationship, a walk with the one who formed you, a conversation with the Creator. And he delights in meeting with you, more than you could ever know. So rise again tomorrow, and let the first name on your lips be His. Let the first thought in your mind be of His goodness. Let the first breath you take be holy, and let that breath carry you into a life of purpose and peace. There will never be a better way to begin your day. No greater strength than the one born in stillness. No deeper joy than the kind rooted in prayer. This is where you belong, first in the arms of God. And now, as this final word settles over your soul, may His presence remain. May His peace guide you. May His love hold you. And may your every tomorrow be shaped by this sacred beginning. Amen.